So this is our Clubhouse tutorial, and a lot of people are still a little bit in the dark about what Clubhouse is and how to take advantage of it. If you're not on iOS, it's not available to you quite yet. So if you're on Android, I think what I heard last is it's about a 6-month wait. But this is definitely a social media platform that you do not want to miss out on. I think that the barrier to entry is minimal. At this point, you just have to be invited. And so it is a little bit exclusive, but I will say it is growing rapidly. So I have 5 invitations currently that I can offer up to people. And if you're looking to join this platform and see what it's all about and see how you can take advantage of it, let me know. I'd be happy to invite you in. So I thought it would be kind of fun to be in here. I'm going to set up a standing date for a room. It's going to be every Thursday at 8 a.m. And we're going to talk about ways that we can co-create, ways we can collaborate. Most of the women that I work with, they have a business of their own, or they're an entrepreneur, and they are lifelong learners. They are people who want to gain knowledge so that they can use it to their advantage. And so it doesn't matter if you don't have your own business. If you just consider yourself a lifelong learner, I think that there's some potential within this app to really benefit from. So I'm going to show you how to really explode your personal and professional growth by understanding these opportunities and unlocking the possibilities. So I love to co-create, absolutely love it. And I have such a great relationship with all of my clients, and I love all of the businesses that they bring to the table. What a great opportunity for us to just use our little ecosystem to start co-creating. So it's a great way to generate visibility, to generate leads, and to learn from some of the most advanced minds that you wouldn't normally have access to. So it doesn't stop with this mind right here, me. There are some really cool people in these rooms. I was in a room last week, I think it was Friday night, and the founder of Netflix came in. I mean, where else would I ever have that kind of exposure to somebody with that kind of a mind? It's so cool. So as you guys know, networking and relationship building is worth prioritizing, but it's not always fun in the traditional sense. So I want you guys to think about the people you have like-minded relationships with, connections with. Who are the people outside of this group that you could possibly co-create with? Clubhouse is essentially shortening the funnel that people need to work through within your ecosystem. It allows you to raise the bar on the conversations. If you are an expert in any field, this is the perfect place to quickly convert cold audiences and into becoming a consumer of your information, of your knowledge. So some of you right now are what are considered listeners. You're kind of that big brother. You are the people who, if you're looking at the app, you're kind of the people that are below the bar. And you can, if you're new into Clubhouse, all you need to do is you need to create your profile picture. I highly recommend having a bright background and really make it, you guys have all done a great job, make it all about your face. And look at some of the bios that people have written, some of the bios of the people that you follow. Make it fun. Include a way that they can connect with you. Really put in your bio DM me on Instagram. This app is connected only to, it has the integration with Instagram and Twitter. So you got to be on one of those to be able to connect with people. And then once you're in Clubhouse, once you've created your profile and you've kind of selected the topics of interest, then start like perusing the rooms. I think that there are so many cool and interesting topics out there. You can start just perusing the ones that start to sound interesting. You can follow people who are in that room, the people who are speaking to you, who you find interesting. Start following them, because this platform will notify you if somebody that you follow, or if there's a topic of interest that is starting a room. So once you're in a room, say you find, like Fernanda found this room because she follows me, she joined and she raised her hand, and it's perfectly appropriate within a smaller room, even if you haven't been invited, to raise your hand. I would say if it's a room that has under 20 people in it, don't be afraid to raise your hand and ask a question. I would just recommend being really concise with your question and ready, like, to ask it. And if you don't have a question, provide value, share ideas, because that's how you're really going to get people to start to follow you. Now, you can be a consumer. You can also be a moderator. You can be the person that actually sets up the room. And it's super simple. You can go in and set up a room that, starts immediately, or you can plan ahead like I did. I planned this room yesterday, and then it gave me a link that I could share out to all of my followers. And so I'm considered the moderator. You can schedule your room 24 to 48 hours ahead of time. I recommend coming up with some sort of catchy title. I would look at maybe some podcasts or some book titles that are within your ecosystem. Because of course you want to hook people, right? You want them to come into your room, and they're going to do that if your room title sounds interesting. The other cool thing that you can do is you can market this on Instagram. You can market it in Instagram stories, on your Facebook posts. You can just start talking about Clubhouse on all your platforms. I often, if I'm in a room, most of the rooms have quite a few people in it. I just take a screenshot and I will tag some of those moderators and talk about the value that I got from that room. And then I'll post that either in Instagram stories or on Instagram, in Facebook, so that I can really start to generate some interest, not only on my behalf, but I can kind of share the love with those people who are moderating. And it's a really great way to conjure up a relationship with these people. So I would strategically pick, if you're a moderator, you're going to want to strategically pick a diverse panel. You want to not only reconnect with the people who are within your circle, but you want to connect with people who are outside your circle too. That's how you're really going to grow your following fast. Okay, so here's a couple housekeeping tips when you're using Clubhouse. If you're in a room, you might hear somebody like a moderator or an admin say PTR, and that stands for pull to refresh. And so it's kind of a way for everybody to kind of recalibrate. Some of these rooms go on for hours. I was in a room one night that I went to bed and I woke up the next morning, the room was still going. And a lot of the same people were in that room for 9+ hours, but the content was so good, they wanted to stay in and listen. And there's always new people kind of taking the stage. It's really interesting. It's kind of like being at a conference that nobody has to see you. You can be at that conference in your jammies, in your slippers. But if you hear the PTR, that means pull to refresh. And so at the top of your screen, you literally just pull down. And it's a way that the moderator will reintroduce the room. She or he might reintroduce the panel. She or he will set the tone for the room. Often that person will kind of manage the expectations on muting and raising your hand. Some people, it doesn't look like anybody in here, but some people will have a little, what's that called? The little party popper icon. They'll have that next to their profile picture. And all that means is that it's their first week on the app. So it's kind of, if you're moderating a room, it's kind of fun to welcome those people because this is a very new experience for them. Okay, so how to become a panelist. Now, this is such a new platform. Don't let it slip through your fingers. If somebody asks you to be a panelist, say yes. Say yes to all of the invitations because it's A, a great experience, but B, it's going to work to your advantage. So you want to show up and you definitely want to talk to the person who invited you beforehand so that you can work out all of the cues. So if somebody wanted to talk to me, say Jerry wanted to talk to me, she can, we could work out the cue where she would blink her mic and it would let me know that she has something to say. So she would be basically turning on and off her mic. Can you do that, Jerry? But do it kind of quick. Yep, exactly. So that would be my cue that Jerry has something to say. Do you see that? So it's a really great way to start to kind of work with the other moderators or the panelists so you can better administrate, facilitate a room and people aren't talking over themselves. So this is a room that I set up kind of like as our little playground that we can take on a test drive. I'm going to be actually facilitating the crash course in Clubhouse the same week that I'm facilitating it on Facebook. So I would love for you guys to join me as panelists during those live sessions. You guys obviously are experts and you have stories to tell. I would love to be able to really spotlight you and expose you to other communities, grow your audiences. It's just, that's what this platform is all about, is the ability to really share audiences. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think it can be a different way, an easy way for you to, like I said, grow your business, accomplish some of your goals this year in an easier, simpler way. I think Clubhouse is the next real viable option. For those of you who have professional goals, I absolutely want to co-collaborate with you. And like I said, expose you to my audience. If you just have wellness goals, I want to co-collaborate with you and expose you to some of my self-made women, the people who have stories, so that you can be inspired by them. And there are so many people that I follow that I think you will find interesting as well. I want to expose you to them just for personal reasons. So that is Clubhouse in a nutshell. That's how I'm using it. I'd love to hear what kind of questions, or if you've had, I know Paula has been on it a couple times. She's had some experience. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Any of the panelists. So Jerry, Fernie, Lisa, and Paula. So go ahead, Paula, come off mute.
Hey, so just a couple things. I love that you gave us some tips and tricks and stuff like that I hadn't heard before, like that pull to refresh. It's really awesome. And the mic thing, I've seen it going on panels and I had no idea what was happening. So that is a great tip. But one other thing that I wanted to share, all of us on here, of course, have iPhones probably, but one thing I've heard is that even if you have an Android, and just to share this with your friends, all of us have old iPhones sitting around, and you can use an old iPhone and refresh it completely, or reboot it from factory settings, and just use a Wi-Fi. You don't have to have a data plan with it. So that's one way to get friends of ours that are on Androids into Clubhouse. And then what was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, I just listened to a podcast from Amy Porterfield with Coach Glitter. And I follow Amy Porterfield and have for a couple of years. And I think you do too, Tracy.
Yep.
But she just had a recent podcast on Clubhouse and was interviewing Coach Glitter, who's following has just skyrocketed in, I think this started in December, maybe, Clubhouse. And she's got, 20 some thousand followers already. And so that is a really good resource to listen to. And that's where I heard the Android thing. So
that's a great tip. Yeah, I do. I follow both of them, and look at both Paula and my bios. Look at who we're following and start following some of those people. I've gotten tons and tons. Literally, the tips that I just gave you came from people that I have been listening to. And I've just been collecting kind of best practices so that I can share it with my following. But these people are just a wealth of information. So thank you. I love that. And I will definitely take the advice of the iOS. I have a whole bunch of iOS devices just lying around here. So that is a really good tip for all my Android friends. If you need an old iOS device that you can just put this app on so you can take advantage of this new platform, let me know. Anybody else have a question? I know Ferdy's probably in her car and she's got babies. Let's see. Let's invite as a speaker. Here we go. Kim, I'm pulling you up.
My gosh, I feel so privileged. Okay, so I was looking around and what I found is maybe I followed too many things because it was just constantly sending me notifications. So I wanted to find out, I'm going to go back and look and see who you're following, but, how to be more, pinpoint, lasering in on things instead of getting so much information. Does that make sense?
It does.
So many people that I just didn't have time. It was coming at times where I couldn't listen also.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I need to know a little more about that too.
Yeah, I too have a lot of notifications coming across my screen. I haven't figured out a way to filter them, because I don't want to miss some of the people, but then there's of course a whole lot of people that, I don't really care about that particular topic on that day, but I don't maybe want to miss the next day. So I'm not sure. I do know if you click on your little profile picture, and then you might have to be outside of a room to be able to do this. But if you can look at the calendar setting and it will say upcoming events. And I think you can add those to your calendar. So it's a way that you can be more proactive versus reactive. So you could technically turn off your notifications so they're not bombarding you. And then you could go in, you'd have to be proactive about it, go into that calendar and put some of those ones of interest on your calendar. It will integrate with your Google or iCal. And so that's another way. Outside of that, I don't know if there's a way to filter the notifications. This is a relatively new platform. I know that they are constantly updating it. So I wouldn't be surprised if, that's on the horizon.
Okay. And I was able to look at it while you were talking, while we're in this. So that's cool.
Awesome. I must not be able to do it because I'm a moderator. It wouldn't let me leave this screen. Fernie, did you have something?
Yes. Okay. So 2 quick thoughts just right off the top when you were introducing kind of how Clubhouse works. I absolutely love that it's skipping over all of the social media bullshit. Excuse me, ladies, sometimes I swear. And it's going straight into making it an amazing tool for business owners. Because when I think about how Instagram has evolved in the last 10 years, it started as a social media platform, went through a terrible algorithm phase is what I would call it. And then now finally people are using it as a business tool with like they're selling pages and whatnot, collaborations. But Clubhouse, I feel, is skipping all of that and going straight into making it an amazing business tool for all entrepreneurs. So I agree with you, Tracy, when you say that it is a growing, you don't want to miss out on it. It's going to be huge, for sure.
Agreed. Anybody else have anything that they want to add? Lisa?
Thanks, Tracy. I'm holding my sleeping grandson, so I'm going to do my best to be kind of quiet. But thank you so much for sharing this because it's really helpful. And I'm kind of wondering, I'm going to mute myself after I ask you this, but thinking in my business, I went through all the subjects and there's not really anything that is exactly fits what I do. So would it be appropriate for me to go on Instagram where I have a lot of people who do what I do and just kind of post something about, Clubhouse ? And just see if anyone would like to start a room?
Definitely. Okay, so here's how I would answer that. You don't necessarily, I don't think that there's anything wrong with co-collaborating with people who are completely, in your same niche. But honestly, I think the best strategy is to co-collaborate with people who are outside of your niche, who share a common audience or a common interest that your audience has. So Lisa is she's an attorney, but her niche is she is a mediator for people who are going through a divorce and they want a better option than going through the typical process. So obviously, Lisa's audience is massive and she could co-collaborate with any one of us, of course. So you really kind of want to have a presence in a room where you set yourself apart, but your audience might find you valuable. Because I think, Lisa, you don't necessarily need to be talking only to the people who are considering divorce or have made a decision. You just want to get the word out there, who you are, who you serve, the problem that you solve, so that other people heighten their awareness of you and start, sharing on your behalf. So I think, certainly you can be in a room with people who do the exact same thing as you do, definitely. But I honestly think that the best strategy is to surround yourself with people who just share some similar audiences, for sure. Anyone else have anything that they want to say? Paula.
So one of the things that I love about Clubhouse is it's not recorded. I don't know if you mentioned that. You might have, because I was trying to, just multitask right at the very beginning. But and then the other thing that I've been doing a little bit here and there and trying to figure out, and I'm so new on this too, but the cool thing is that everybody is new on it. Like we're only weeks into it. And so one of the things for Lisa, one of the things I've done is find people on it that I really like your influencers, Tracy. Like look them up. There's a way to search and look them up and see what rooms they're in, see who they follow. And then when you're in a room, there's that section followed by the speakers. And then below that is just in the room. And when you start looking at the profiles of the people that are followed by the speakers, you can get a better feel for who they are following, and then that'll sort of lead you down a rabbit hole. But like Kim, I have the same thing going on, and I just kind of ignore it unless I have time for it. But one of the things that I get a lot of, and this is something that we could do, but if you do start a room, you can invite others. So I have a coaching colleague who is in one of these rooms. I think every Tuesday they have a room at 1:00. She's a coach dentist. So it's called Dentists Have Feelings Too.
I love it.
All right. So I was in there and I finally got time to join them because she kept inviting me and pinging me to join, and I was always in a meeting. And so finally I had time to do it, and I did. And what happened then is the other speakers followed me too. And I don't have that many followers yet. I was like 8, maybe 10. I don't even know. But I'm not on it very much yet. And I think that if you do spend time on it, I think it could just explode. So I'm excited, Tracy, that you're doing the crash course and that you're in here. And I'm curious about, like, I haven't seen the room yet. And so I'm curious about, like, how you invite people, and once you have the room open, like we were just talking about it at the very beginning, like how you invite people up to speak or to be on the panel.
Yeah. So once I set up the room, which was really simple, it's pretty intuitive when you're in the app. You can, at that time, you can start inviting people that you are connected with, that you follow, or that follow you. It also gives you the option to copy the link to the actual room. So I was able to yesterday get the link to this room, pass it out. I could have put I set this one up as a closed room. So if this wasn't closed, anybody who follows me, anybody who I follow would have been notified, and this room would have actually been kind of categorized, and people who are perusing the categories of interest, this would have shown up. And I named it How to Maximize Clubhouse. So we're on Clubhouse and there's all these newbies. I knew that we would get a whole lot of people joining this call that we don't know. And I wanted this call specifically just to be like an intro. And I wanted it to kind of be that safe space that we could play around in. I am recording this on StreamYard for people within my audience, so they could have more of a visual if they haven't yet gotten an opportunity to see what Clubhouse is all about. Maybe they don't want to put it on their phone until they see it. But I purposely intentionally set this up as a private room. But you can set it up as an open room, which I will be doing going forward. Every Thursday at 8 a.m., this is going to be an open room. And it's really going to be how to co-collaborate. I'm going to bring tips and ideas for all of the women who want to co-create. So outside of that, I'm also going to run the crash course. So 2 totally different objectives. I would love for you guys to participate in all of it. But it's very easy to invite the panelists because they're typically people that you follow. If you find somebody, either through like the ether that you want to co-collaborate with, it's a simple ask. They first, of course, have to create a profile, but then you literally just come up with the date and time that you are going to meet and develop your content. I think that this is a really casual platform, so I don't think it has to be anything, super scripted or anything formal. Yeah, but it's really easy to set up. I will say, as you guys are really optimizing your bios, it's really important that, not unlike your Instagram bio, that your first 3 lines are, who you serve, what is the problem that you solve, and the promise that you make to your clients, because people are going to follow you when they understand who you are and what you can do for them. So make sure that your bio is optimized. Yesterday I was kind of looking at mine and I'm like, my top line says founder of Self-Made You. Well, that really doesn't say a whole lot. A lot of people don't know what Self-Made You is. So it's now gonna say, I help women lose weight fast. That's what I'm gonna lead with. I'm gonna lead with, I'm a certified life and weight loss coach, and I help people lose weight fast. And then I'll make my promise. So think about that, be a little strategic. I would say that's probably the most, strategic priority that you want to, or the most strategic task that you want to prioritize before you set up a room. Any other questions? Any other comments? Well, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, this is going to be a standing room. It's going to be open for women who want to co-create, collaborate, really gain exposure, learn from one another. And I hope that you guys will come back and join us every single Thursday at 8 a.m. And then we will also be facilitating the crash course in here in a couple of weeks. So thank you so much for being here. Take care, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks, Tracy.
Thanks, Tracy.
You're welcome.